Atlantic slave trade began when multiple territories, including America, Britain, Spain, and the West Indies, forcibly took African men, women, and children from their home to be sold as property and carry on hideous labor. It was almost 300 years before it was abolished in the United States. In 1865, a few months after the conclusion of the Civil War, it was officially illegal to own slaves or involuntary servants. September 22nd, 1862, Abraham Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation was an initial warning that he would order the emancipation of all slaves in any state that did not end its rebellion against the Union by January 1st, 1863. It changed the lives of more than 3.5 million enslaved African Americans in the designated areas of the South. This threw Southern states into chaos as slaves were now aware that there was a place where they could be free. The proclamation also stated that freed slaves could enlist in the Union Army, increasing the Union's manpower, creating another advantage over the Confederate Army. This was an important step towards abolishing slavery and increasing the conversation of American citizenship upon freed slaves. It was clear of the heavy effect the proclamation had on the United States, as the course of the war changed from the North fighting to preserve the Union to now also fighting to end slavery. But there were still concerns that the President's proclamation was a temporary measure no longer valid once the war concluded. Originally, Lincoln favored the idea that individually states could decide whether or not to outlaw slavery in their own territory, being that in 1864 several states had already done so. It was the radical Republicans and abolitionists who convinced Lincoln that slavery could never be fully outlawed unless it was written as an amendment in the Constitution. In fact, it was Ohio Congressman James M. Ashley who originally introduced the 13th Amendment. Majority of the Republicans in the House of Representatives approved the 13th Amendment, but it was the issue of the Democrats who mostly favored the states' rights to choose. June 15, 1864, when the House of Representatives voted, it only reached 93 votes, making it short of the two-thirds majority required in order for an amendment to be passed. It was not until Abraham Lincoln's views evolved when he announced his favor of the 13th Amendment, which ultimately swayed the other Democrats of the House to also vote in its favor, thus reaching the required two-thirds majority. But the amendment would still not become a law until approved by a required three-fourths of the states. On December 6, 1865, Georgia approved, officially making slavery illegal in all parts of the United States.
In 1865, the 13th Amendment stated that no man is destined to slavery or involuntary servitude unless convicted of a crime. This translates to, in order to make a freed man a slave, all you have to do is convict them of a crime.
You could use prison as a pretext to bring involuntary servitude back. Is that what you're saying?
Well, it has. You know, there's people getting paid 8 cents a week working for companies, you know, that are privately owned. And, you know, a lot of them are first-time offenders. A lot of them are nonviolent crimes. There should be a group of super knowledgeable people that have, that come from all cultures, that then make the amendments on our Constitution. I didn't say modern, I didn't say new. because that notes a specific time, when time is used to control us and control our energy. So there needs to be people who look like the people who are being spoke about.